Have you ever had a near-death experience? Or perhaps someone you know may have had a near-death experience? Well, if so, we would love to hear your story and have you as a guest on our podcast. For more information, visit NDE.world. Again, that's NDE.world. We would love to hear your story.
Welcome to the NDE World Podcast, where we explore the magical, mystical, and spiritual world of near-death experiences. And now, Ashton Lewis and Daphne Lynn.
Welcome back to the NDE World Podcast. I am your host, Ashton Lewis, and this is my partner in crime, Miss Daphne Lynn. Good morning, Daphne Lynn.
Good morning. Hello.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Hello, how are you?
We got to remember that.
Yeah, I keep forgetting. Yeah, I keep forgetting that some people are listening at, midday or evening, nighttime, whenever. It's not always morning, but it's morning here when we're producing the show. So it just kind of comes out like that. Especially when you're looking out morning outside the window there. You can see
dark.
It. Yeah. A little bit of daylight off in the distance kind of starting to trickle in. So we welcome you guys. Those of you who don't know who we are the NDE World Podcast. And for more information, go to our website. That is NDE.world. Again, NDE.world. And if you've got a story that pertains to any of these things that we do, ranging from the spiritual experiences, out-of-body experiences, unexplained phenomena, near-death experiences, all of these things, we'd love to hear your story.
Mystical happenings, supernatural,
yeah. Anything
aliens,
that's cool.
come on. People see stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Give us a call.
Absolutely.
Contact us,
yeah. Go to NDE.world, and we will be glad to bring you on and have your story on our show. Love to hear your story. Now, a lot of our shows, we do what's called the actual NDE Review, where we actually go into personal experiences of NDEers and try to find spiritual nuggets. Okay, we're actually spiritual treasure hunters. That's what we're going to start considering ourselves, spiritual treasure hunters. So we like to really go into these near-death experiences and try to get whatever nuggets that we can get from them and share with others and apply in our lives or anything like that.
We like going nug hunting.
Nug hunting. Yeah, absolutely. So, and for those of you who don't know, if you want to do more research, we get our recordings are taken from the actual NDERF.org. That's the letters NDERF.org. And that's Dr. Jeffrey Long's site, where they have thousands upon thousands of actual medically and scientifically backed up and recorded and documented near-death experiences. So we take these near-death experiences and break them down. They're very common elements, and then we look for those, the common threads, but also whatever kind of nuggets that we can find mixed up in there.
Oh, and there's some good ones too. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It is.
I walk away smiling every time we do an episode, because it's just it's enlightening for me. And I hope it is for the listeners too, because there's so much we can learn from these.
Absolutely. Well, with that being said, let's go ahead and jump on today's first clip and see what kind of nuggets we can get from that.
Sounds good to me.
Let's
do it.
Yes, and we are rolling.
One summer, when the temperature was soaring above 105 degrees, my brother begged and persuaded my mother and my other two sisters to go to the Como River to escape the summer heat. My mother was a little uncomfortable about going, but she understood about the escape of Texas's unbearable heat. We went to Como River nearby New Braunfels, Texas. To make this story brief, hundreds or probably thousands of Texas teens swarmed over the fence and ignored the warning sign of dangers there. Some teens jumped over the bridge into the river, about 20 feet or more. The heat was really unbearable during that time. Imagine people walking with bare feet on hot rocks or a hot sidewalk. They were hopping to avoid the feeling of burning bare feet. One afternoon, I was about 10 years old, friends or family members could get separated easily by the water's currents and get lost somewhere in the river. I was pulled down to the side and I grabbed the sidewalk and arrived at the ladder to get out. Then I searched for my brother or sisters with no luck. I walked to a farther, small dam, looking less dangerous than the first one. I decided to walk over the small dam, which has a lot of water falling over it. The water falling down was about 4 feet to 6 feet, I believe. I walked and slipped down because the algae was so slippery. I was rather an excellent swimmer. I did not panic but was very aware of the water's strong current. Down the waterfall, I tried to fight the current and get my body away. I got caught by an undertow current and I tried to swim out. The direction out was lost on me. I could not figure which direction was up, down, or right, or even left. I panicked and was very scared what happened to me. I screamed in the water for help. My thoughts were on my mother and family. Water got into my mouth and the breathing ceased to none. My body felt so cold and my brain closed down on me. Blackness covered everything around me. I realized that the door of life was closed on me. My body said, "Is that the death experience? Is that it?" Then I blacked out. Then ticking of electricity jolts hit my feet and swarmed all the way from my feet to my head, and my body found such awe over the feeling. Right away, my life was shown in a flashing increments of movie rolling year by year, individual by individual. My first favorite flashing was when I was born out and my mother's beautiful face was shown for the first time in my life. I did not realize how much love my mother has for me. Second flashing was I was playing with my brother and sisters and the closeness I felt being with them. Third flashing was my father throwing my body up in the air, a lot of laughter and some puzzled feeling flashing. Then the rolls went faster and I felt so many stars bursting all over my head or body. It was so unreal. Then I saw a light at the end of the tunnel bursting toward me. My spirit or soul was caught into the light tunnel. I flew through the light tunnel. I could still remember the feeling even today. Only description I could give you is the feeling was almost identical to the movie, Contact, the new built ball spacecraft falling down the giant Eurospace machine. The actress went through the tunnel right away and she could see outside space by her ball space shuttle. That's what I saw when I was zoomed through the tunnel. I could see some universe by the tunnel's transparency. Such awesome feeling flying through the tunnel at light speed. I arrived at the boundary while floating my body near the boundary. I was shocked how much load was lifted off my shoulders, such as many ridiculous rules or laws being imposed on us people. For the first time I realized how much bondage we had from the government or churches. It was lifted off my shoulders. And at the same time all of the light conscience of laws was, I could not find the right word to describe the experience. It's much like a hurricane drawing all energy toward eye of the storm. It's almost the same feeling of drawing all knowledge and conscience of real beings into my body and mind. One example, when I approached the boundary. No explanation was necessary for me to understand, at the age of 10, that once I crossed the boundary, I could never come back, period. I was more than thrilled to cross. I intended to cross, but my ancestors over another boundary side caught my attention. They were talking in telepathy, which caught my attention. I was born profoundly deaf and had all-hearing family members, which all of them knew sign language. I could read or communicate with about 20 ancestors of others and mine through telepathic methods. It overwhelmed me. I could not believe how many people I could telepathize with simultaneously. I saw the unexplained community, scenic in buildings, not built by people but obviously by some kind of supernatural builder. The megacity was almost so perfect and flawless. I saw the perfect megacity through my ancestors. One of my grandmothers or great-grandmothers or even great-great-grandmothers was surprised and puzzled that I arrived at the boundary. All of them showed their shocked surprise that I arrived. They were not expecting me at all. But they opened their arms welcoming me to come over. One of my ancestors telepathized, "Why is he here? Is he supposed to be here now?" Asking others, I am surprised too. I thought his time was in the short future, but not now. Another jumped in radiantly full of love and joy to see my presence and opened my eyes to our new future. I could not even describe in words what I saw. Sorry, I am lost with the words, in a flashing second. An angel approached me firmly and questioned me, "What are you doing here?" I was so shocked at his question. At the first glimpse of my guardian angel, I knew that he was there when my mother gave birth to me and that he shared the joy and said that my birth was a completed task in his listing. I looked at him with such an inspired feeling. I felt so close to him, but he pushed me one step away. He asked me telepathically, "What happened?" I did not care what happened. I was fulfilled and bursting with joy and love. I wanted to go over the boundary right away. My angel approached me firmly, then scanned me and saw right through me that I drowned. I was so shocked that he knew by scanning through me without any conversation. The firm statement from my own guardian angel was, "Your time is not up now. You have some unfinished business to do. Go back." At first, I shrugged and tried to sneak beside him. He moved like lightning and put his hand toward me. I felt my body being pulled at incredible speed backward. The light of the tunnel zoomed out of my eyes, and I was slapped back into my body with such forcible hands. I felt my body once again, and I was puzzled to why I am still in my body. I woke up and realized that I was still in the water, and I felt that I actually breathed in the water, which is not the case. I heard a voice speaking, "Stand straight firmly." Without any question, I stood straight and I felt a big hand wrapping around my body and took my body out of the fall current. And my body was pushed to the end of the land where I grabbed for control. I got out of the water and my mouth poured all the water out of my body on the land.
And we are back. That's a cool little story. Miss Daphne, would you like to start off on your comments there?
Most definitely. Oh my gosh. I say this a lot. The door to life, door of life is the term that he used as he was going through this experience of leaving his body after it felt cold and everything.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
And electricity all throughout his body.
That's when he had blackened out. Yeah, let's kind of go more focusing on that. That's kind of like where the actual NDE, I guess, really kind of started kicking in. Wouldn't you say? Like when he actually blacked out, and he felt all these electric jolts throughout the body. And if you notice here, he went, like many cases do, and we've heard about this. He went straight into his life review. You know, some people go through the tunnel and go do this and do that and do things, and then they'll have their life review. It's all different for everyone.
Exactly.
However, we do hear a lot of times, depending on the person, you know, sometimes they go straight into a life review. Now, this was like a little 10-year-old, from what I understand,
yeah,
a 10-year-old kid. So, but he went straight into his life review, and he saw when he was born and his little brothers and sisters, and father throwing him up as a baby, and you know, I thought it was nice when he said he remembered recalling seeing his mother's face for the first time.
And the love.
That love
that
she
felt
had.
for him.
Yeah, it was beautiful. Yeah. Well, we got the stars bursting and then the light at the end of the tunnel
that he flew through. And if anybody's ever seen the movie Contact, I knew exactly what he was describing when he said this, because I have seen that movie. So it was interesting that that's the effect that the tunnel had on him. but he said he saw some universe. So
Yeah,
that was interesting. Was it our universe? Was it another universe? Just a part of this universe? I mean, that was a statement that makes you go,
Yeah, yeah. And here's where it gets good, in my opinion.
yes.
Where he, after he had floated out to the boundaries, he said that he started to really think about the ridiculous rules and the bondage that mankind is under due to religion, the church, political world, these things like that. Would you like to comment on that?
Yeah, he said that those things were lifted from him. So that's very interesting that, and we've been hearing this, that there's no religion, those things don't matter on that other side. Everything from this world is purged.
Yeah.
And that's what we're seeing right here is that purge from religious dogma and politics.
And like he says here, that words can't explain the experience. And of course, we get that all the time.
Yeah,
exactly. You don't have words in English.
Right.
Not just English humans, should I say. We don't have words as humans to describe that experience,
Yeah,
no explanation, he said.
Yeah, interesting. He was going through this area, and he said he saw the boundary and knew that if he went that far, he couldn't come back. But he said, and this is where it really gets interesting, is he said he heard his ancestors through telepathy, and he was deaf as a child. So that was probably like, what the heck, to him. So, but that telepathy, the collective communication, because he was saying he was communicating with like 20 or so of them.
Yeah. Then he noticed that supernatural city.
Yeah.
And he had to have a supernatural builder. I think it's like he called it the mega city or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
The mega city. He said it had to have a supernatural builder. But all the grandparents, but either great grandmother, I don't remember.
Right.
He said he didn't even know, but they were communicating with him telepathically, wondering what he's doing there. And then I said that we know he's supposed to be here soon, in the near future. So it's almost as if, and I've heard this before in other accounts, like
Me too.
the family or people on the other side, or, well, what are you doing here?
Why are you doing here?
Why are you here? You're not supposed to be here till later. As if everybody has a time, and those on the other side actually know what time we're going to be showing up. I'm not saying that is the case,
no,
but
that's
does
exactly
it not kind
what
of
I'm gathering
almost
from
sound
this.
like
Yes, exactly. And that is predestined times. Religion teaching that you're not predestined to anything. It's all by free will, free choice. But according to this, they're knowing, and like he said, they weren't expecting him, and he was questioned more than once. Why is he here now?
Even the angel. Remember, said the angel appeared,
Exactly.
and asked the angel himself, says, "Oh, what are you doing here?"
Yeah, exactly. And
He realized it was his guardian angel.
he recognized him as his guardian angel. Yeah. But backing up a little bit, because in between the questions of why is he here, he said that his eyes was open to the near future, and he didn't really elaborate on that. But he said he was shown things in the near future.
Yeah.
But he didn't relate anything on that.
Really
So
go into it too deep.
and maybe that's one of those things that because you hear of people experiencing things and don't come back with everything that they gained from knowledge on that side. So there are bits and pieces that you're not supposed to be aware of on this side. So.
Absolutely. You definitely need to take that into consideration. It gives you something to think about. Now, again, back at the guardian angel part, I found it interesting that the guardian angel told this guy that he was one of his completed tasks in his portfolio.
From being born.
Yeah, and he helped him and got through that. That was one of the angel's tasks completed in his. So it gives you a little bit of insight into the angelic world, and guardian angels, because if they're guardian angels, they've got jobs to do.
Exactly.
And they're documenting you and taking notes and everything. So that was an accomplishment, when a guardian angel helps you with birth, I'm sure.
Right. And I've been hearing a lot lately, and it's really got my interest piqued. It really, really does. And it's something I really want to do some research on, get some books on, and read on this, because I've been sensing and feeling this lately. The angels, the guardian angels that we're all supposed to have. I want to learn more of this. And this confirms for me that, you know, they are real, and
the guardian angels. Yes.
Yes. And I love the fact that he said he knew he was his guardian angel and he felt close to him.
Yeah.
So, the angel even asked him what happened, and then just he said he scanned through him and confirmed what happened without him having to relate anything.
Because to show you can't hide it, you can't even hide anything from angels, much less life itself or the Creator or what we call God.
Amazing.
I mean, if an angel can scan you and tell you what's going on, imagine, and you can see how the life review just really. It's like a scan going on through your whole body and being projected all around you at the same time.
Right. And his angel even telling him, he had to go back. And
yeah.
Him being a kid, he's like, I'm going to try to sneak around him.
I love that.
And the guardian angel stopped him. Yeah.
Oh. I laughed when I heard that part. I really did. Because I can imagine that, this guardian angel said, well, it's not your time. Just, you got unfinished business. And, you're telling that to a little 10-year-old kid, and them eyes are going left and right behind the angel. Yeah, and he said, he took off and tried to sneak around him. But he said that angel was so lightning fast.
Boom, we got him.
He could not, so. But anyway, said he sent him back, and he felt like he was slapped back into the body.
Yeah.
But he was still in the water. And I like the part where it said he heard this voice, stand straight.
Firmly.
Yes, stand straight firmly. And he said when he did that, he felt a large hand take his body and lift him up out of the water and put him over by the
I wonder if
edge
that
of the
was his
water or the
guardian
land.
angel.
That's what I'm thinking. Why would it not be?
Right.
Yeah.
Because, I've heard different accounts where, let me just give an example. Okay, so there was this one lady who recalls her NDE as a child. She was 4 years old when she had her NDE. And she was asleep on the top bunk, but it was away from the wall enough that she, in her sleep one night, slid between the wall and the bunk and got stuck and lost her breath and was struggling, and she died. And she almost died. And she said her brother was asleep underneath, and she thought it was him, but she said she felt a back underneath her feet and push her up back to the top so she could climb back up on top. When she got back up on top, she caught her breath and everything, and then looked down, gonna thank her brother, and he was laying there sound asleep. So that was an angel that had helped her.
You hear thousands of stories and
yes,
after story of angelic intervention.
Yes, and see, that is what's got my interest peaked on it. I actually listened to a podcast the other day on angels and guardian angels, and there's a couple of books out there that I want to get just to read up on this because it is so very interesting to me.
It is.
It's something that I've never in my life really, I've heard it all my life, but I've never really believed in it. It's like because religion had tainted my brain,
influenced it
influenced me. So I'm like, now that I've been enlightened and awakened, it's like I'm starting to really have confirmations of this. So,
very good.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, since we've got X amount of time to have to try to get all this stuff in, you want to go ahead and roll with another one clip real quick and try to get another one in and get some nugs, see if we can find some more nuggets.
Yes, sounds good.
Let's do it. Okay, and we are rolling.
In 1989, I was driving a 1950 Chevy sedan. I was driving above 100 miles per hour on a Cuban country road. I tried to negotiate a narrow curve and failed as I came off the road and hit several concrete fence poles and one big electrical pole. The car veered into the pasture that had some meadows. The car was flipping and rolling 2 or 3 times. At the second meadow, somehow or by someone, my body was extracted from the car. I was suspended in the air and landed softly on the ground. Although I only had a minimal scratch on my right hand only, the car broke apart in many pieces and was completely destroyed. During the experience, my future life as it happens afterward and it is now was flashed on my eyes and brain. I saw a bright light. I saw transparent entities protecting me who were covering my body like in a bubble. I also saw my future sons and daughter. On the ground, I could not believe I was undamaged. I was a newly graduated physician and I knew about physical lesions, etc. It was impossible to be in that accident and suffer no physical damage. I was able to walk away from the accident scene with my clothing that was almost clean. People who came to the scene were looking for a body inside the damaged car. Nobody could believe that I was the driver. When police arrived and confirmed it was my car and I was the driver, everybody present were in awe. From that day forward, I started believing in angels. That is the only feasible explanation I can have of that event. In 2006, I developed cardiac arrhythmia and had a syncope after taking metoprolol from low blood pressure and heartbeat rate. I was taken to the hospital in Miami, Florida. I was working as a registered nurse at the time in the cardiology unit. I was sedated, lying on the hospital stretcher as the doctor initiated a cardioversion procedure to stop my heart briefly and reinitiate it to break down the arrhythmic pattern. Somehow, it took longer than they expected to reinitiate my heart. I saw again a bright light, but this time it was preceded by a long, dark tunnel. In the light, I was greeted again by transparent entities, my deceased grandparents and my unborn daughter and son. I saw my body while my soul was hovering over it. I saw the doctor and the team giving me CPR and preparing the AED although it was not used. Then I was pushed back to my body and my heartbeat re-established. Now, I have 3 sons and 1 daughter. My older son is 39 years old, he has 2 children. I have another son who is 25 years old, and my baby son is 8 months old. My daughter is 8 years old. I thank God every single day.
And we are back.
Interesting.
It is.
Another one.
Another with that angelic
Angelic
intervention
thread
as well.
through it there. I mean, this didn't necessarily say angels, but he did
just
say
happens to have it.
transparent entities. So let's start from the top with this.
Yeah, but there was a part where he said he did start believing in angels and things like that. But we'll get to
Mm-hmm.
that. We'll get to that. So this guy, according to his story, was like in an accident, car accident. Car was rolling and flipping and this and that. But somehow he was thrown out. And he doesn't know how he.
Something
he didn't know how that
threw
even
him
happened, right?
from the car, and he was. I thought this was interesting. Suspended for a moment in the air.
It is interesting. Then it said his whole life flashed,
Mm-hmm.
and then there was a bright light, and then the transparent entities.
Exactly.
He
My
saw them
brain.
protecting. He said he looked around and saw those entities protecting him.
So that has got to be. And
Is this what we call angels? Those entities?
I would think so. I have heard some people have more than one guardian angel, but I mean, I can't say. I don't really rightly know, so I can't really answer that. But I know we are assigned at least one. So, or I feel that we are assigned at least one. I'm going to do more research on that, like I said earlier. But the entities were there to assist him. And he said he walked away with just some minor scratches. After the car was completely mangled, the people that arrived on the scene of the accident thought this person was already deceased. And they had to wait for the authorities to get there and confirm that was him. Because nobody believed
even
it.
the authorities didn't believe it.
Yes, exactly.
Well, if you don't mind, let's take a step back. I thought it was interesting when when we were talking about him seeing the transparent entities
Yeah.
protecting. He also saw his future sons and daughters.
His children, yes.
His children. Would you like to comment on that?
Yes, exactly. I mean, I kind of, he actually got to see them twice in this account.
Yes, and he actually wrapped up his story sharing, about his children. And,
So
on
that
how
is amazing that in 2 separate accounts he was
He
shown.
didn't have children, but he saw his children.
Exactly. He was shown future children that he would have.
Wow.
So that's imagine going through life knowing actually knowing from an experience that you're going to have children and you're anticipating that. So what your mind and state of mind is being has to be knowing
that would have to be a cool experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he said, and being able to walk away from that, account, so he actually started believing in
angels. Yes. And this, to me, just the synchronicities that we really get when we're getting on the right path, should I say. Synchronicities go to happening on a regular basis. For me, this is just another synchronicity that I do need to go ahead and get some books and read up on this, because I'm really starting to believe that we all do have those angels. So me, I'm the type of person that not only do I want to believe in it, but I'm like, I want to know who my angels are, because what I hear, you can communicate with them. So that is something I'm interested in. But back to his second account, when he had some issues he had to deal with his health. Yeah. He said this time he saw a bright light in a long dark tunnel.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah. Which kind of ties in with the basic NDE. You hear a lot about the tunnel and the bright light. But then again, he said he also saw those transparent entities.
And his grandparents.
But this time he saw a family, yep.
And his unborn children again.
And unborn children again, yeah, yep.
Yes. That's very interesting.
And he also saw, he said he saw his body. He was floating over
Yes, he had an OBE as well.
At that time, yeah. And the doctors in the operating room and things like that, I think in the ER room, he said he had saw as well. But then he had to return. He actually returned to his body.
Back.
Yeah.
Pushed back, yeah.
And then he goes off to close out with sharing the information about his 3 sons and his daughter.
Yes, very interesting. That's got to be really, just beautiful for his state of being, to have that future sense fulfilled from what he saw through both of these experiences, and then have both all of his children there, that that did solidify that what he saw was truth.
Yeah, manifested, yeah.
Yes.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Well, that's a really great story. Actually, both of them were, and I guess the main thing I got out of today's reviews really was the actual, just that reminder that there is the angelic realm, there is the angelic guides, there is the, your spirit guides, your angels and things. So in both of these accounts, not just these 2, but many of them, we get, these kind of experiences where, angels do intervene.
Right. And it's not as the
or even entities.
Religion and everything portrays them with like these big wings and everything like that. Yeah. But they realize that it is a type of angel.
Some type of entity or being, being of light, or, Yeah. Well, I guess with that thought in mind, we're going to go ahead and wrap things up. Yes. Thank you so much for listening, guys. And we love you so much. And as always, may peace be with you all. Until next time.
Y'all always let your light shine.
For more information about the NDE World Podcast, visit NDE.world. That's NDE.world.